You are such a popular speaker, heard in so many forums. And you said, okay, Natakam is rated as one of the things. But why particularly cinema?
All our art forms are very integrated, Shailaja ji. For example, see, just imagine this movie can't have a person who's prompting.
You didn't have prompting.
No prompting, they had to by heart.
But you didn't go for sync sound either.
Do that movie in Sanskritam. They had no problems. We wrote to 2 distributors, they said, you dub this and give us. You give it in Tamil, we will put. For me,
Hollywood takes up our stories.
Hollywood should do, because Ramayanam should be made in English. Because Ramayanam lends itself to a world audience. It is just not meant between Arepuram and Mylapore. It needs to travel to the Beverly Hills and the Brentwood.
Parama Bhagavata Mauni Varasa Shivi Bhakara Sanaka Sanandana Disha Surakim Purusha Kanaka Kashipu Suta Narada Tumburu Pavana Sunu Bala Chandra Dhara Shuka Saroja Bhava Bhusura Varulu Parama Pavanulu Ghanulu Shashvatulu Kamala Bhava Sukhamu Sadanu Bhavulu Gakayendaro Mahanu Bhavulu. As I'm speaking these divine lines of Sri Tyagaraja Swami, I've received the very divine Onavil of Thiruvananthapuram. This is going to be a grand, a mega Natya production titled Endaro Mahanubhavalu, a festoon of the devout. We have chosen the inspiring events from the lives of 14 Acharyas, Mahans, who have trod Bharata Bhumi. Doddacharya, Adi Shankaracharya, Vedanta Deshika, Muthuswami Dikshita, Potana, Jayadeva, Andal, Mirabai, Kamban, Tirumalizai Piran, Bhadrachala, Ramadasu, Goswami, Tulasidasa, Purandaradasa and Tukaram. We have strung it together into a beautiful dance production that is primarily Bharatanatyam based with movements of Odissi, Ghumar and Mohiniyattam, which is going to be multilingual as well, with lines chosen from Sanskritam, Marathi, Brajbhasha, Rajasthani, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, so many languages put together. I've had the opportunity to work with dancers, Natya gurus of great repertoire in the last 15 years. This is an opportunity for me to have curated the production, to have done the storyboard and narrate the production in English. The choreography is by the very famous revered Kalaimamani Srimati Anita Guha. The music is by the great-grandson of Subramanya Bharati, a Sangeet Natak Academy awardee, Dr. Rajkumar Bharati. And the soundscape design is by Sri Sai Shravanam, one of the contributing engineers to the award-winning Life of Pi movie. We have all come together to present this grand production Endaro Mahanubhavalu in your city. On the 26th and on the 27th of September at the Prestige Center of Performing Arts in Bengaluru, we are presenting this production. On the 3rd and the 4th of October, we are doing it at the Naradagana Sabha in Chennai. On the 1st of November, we are doing it at the Fine Arts Society, Chembur in Mumbai. And on the 29th of November at Kamani Auditorium in Delhi. Tickets are flying off the shelves. Please be present, buy your tickets and be with your family to watch this, I would say, once in a lifetime event. We are extremely thankful to the title sponsor, to the event sponsor, to the associate sponsors, and to those hands who have supported us. To the all of you, thank you. To the all of you, Vandanamulu, please be present. Namaskar.
Namaskaram.
It's very nice. Many directors actually say they adapted a novel or a play into a film. But in your case, you spent years living with Kalidasa through scholarship and then you become a filmmaker. At what point did you stop being an interpreter of Kalidasa and start becoming a filmmaker?
Namaskaram at the outset. Greetings to all of you who are present for Cinema Rendezvous. Even before I answer the question, there's been a connection with Shylaja ji. I studied 4 years of my high school in Chennai, and I had the opportunity to introduce one of our chief guests for our cultural functions, and that was Shylaja way back in 2001. And you know, you often don't fathom how much the future holds in for you, and today I'm seated with her. That said, to speak about Kalidasa, the great Kavi, every dialogue of his and every scene that he creates is actually very picturesque. It is meant to be painted and to be made into a cinema. But probably the only, I wouldn't say the drawback, is it's very dramatic. When we just used to this one words, ye, edukku, that won't work in Kalidasa. For that yen, he has to write like 4 lines. And edukku, he has to complete a 16-line poem. So Kalidasa is very dramatic that way. So it was not something out of the blue where I had to take something from Kalidasa and make it into cinema. It is meant to be made into cinema, but not the cinema that probably we want to see today. It's quite a drama which is cinemized.
But that's when you see the history of cinema, that's how it's been, right? Our own dialogues. Nada அப்படிங்கிற அந்த ஸ்பேசிங்கில் தான் இன்னைக்கு வந்து போடா வாடா அப்படிங்கிற ஸோ ஐ மீன் so many things have changed. So I think that way it is different. But as a language, do you think Sanskritam is something which has more words? I mean, many of them speak Sanskritam. I do not know other than the slokams I know. As a language, how is it?
I'm seated in the Rajadhani of Tamil Nadu and I'm going to speak about Sanskritam. See, every language is beautiful. And every language has its own salient features. Sanskritam as a language is very special because a lot of the scriptures that we have bequeathed, be it the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Puranas, of course the literature, all of it is in Sanskritam. See, if you take at least 90% of the, or even more, of the names of the people who are present here, it will be in Sanskritam. So a language doesn't have to live only by speaking. It can exist in very many ways. One is, you said you recite shlokas. That is one way it lives. People have names. A lot of the places that we have, Raja Annamalapuram. Raja is a Sanskritam word. It's a Manipravala word actually, because Raja is Sanskritam, Anna is Tamil. Anna yen idar kalayaye says Alvar. So it's a Tamil word. So Malay is a Tamil word. So Raja Annamalai itself is a Manipravalam word. So a language can exist in very many ways. So the point I'm trying to make is, every language is beautiful. Similarly, Sanskrit has such great features, and the face of India in terms of literature. Of course, Tamil is very rich. If you look to the West, the linguistics people always take up to Kalidasa, because 1800 years back, look at what he could think and what he could write. Some of the lines, because see, what you see here in the movie is actually the shortened version of ЩАКУНТАЛАM. I would have taken like about 30% of what he has written, because he has given long poems. So as a language, it's beautiful. Kalidasa as a poet is great. I'm always in awe of Kalidasa. Yeah.
So you started visualizing what you were reading. So, and why specifically did you choose when you, I mean, you were an actor, you helped with the screenplay, and then finally you decide to make a film. Why specifically this subject, Abhinyana Shakuntalam? That was a question I had, but I think Mr. Ganesh from our club had. And Sita from who used to be with Sun TV added one more question to that. She said, why did you drop Abhinyana? Especially when it's Sanskritam only.
Yeah, so the Shabda Abhignana stands for insignia. An object that reminds you of someone becomes an Abhignanam in itself. Kalidasa calls it Abhignana Shakuntalam, no doubt. But to convey certain letters, Indic letters in English, is a task. For example, Ra. It is not Z and H. Z and H still wouldn't make the person who's pronouncing it say it as a Ra. Well, people who speak Tamil don't get Ra. That's a different thing. Even otherwise, Z and H don't convey Ra. Similarly, the L with the dot below as a diacritical mark doesn't convey the La. Malayalattil ulla La. How will you convey that L with the dot? Now, imagine me telling Abhignana. It is J N with a diacritical mark above and a A. When we are living in times where it's Kia Iyengar and Siaz Iyer, if I give the name Abhigyana Shakuntalam, this hall would just be half full. So people wouldn't even be able to tell what they are attending. So Kalidasa assumed that people who come after him will be linguists. He was proven wrong, so I had to give up on the word Abhigyana. Shakuntalam, even in Shakuntalam, you won't believe the interviews I've given. They wouldn't say Shakuntal, Shakuntal, Sakuntala, everything but Shakuntalam will come. So it was considering the welfare and the goodwill of the society that I had to drop Abhigyana. And yeah.
Why specifically this when you had such a vast corpus of Sanskritam literature from which you could...
Kavyeshu natakam ramyam tasya ramya shakuntala, in different forms of literature that we know, be it poetry, prose, champu, different kinds of literature. It is said that drama is the best. Kavyeshu, amongst the kavyas, natakam ramyam. Nataka is the best. Tasya ramya shakuntala, of the dramas that we know, Shakuntalam is the best. See, we were venturing into a territory called Sanskritam. Agreed that people don't speak. So, but then that gives jitters in people. Will I be able to understand? They would be watching Squid Game. They can understand Korean and not Sanskritam. That's a different thing. But, so why better take a tried and tested topic which is proven the best. It's like the best. So, Shakuntalam, every person, every Samskrita Mahavidwan will always call Kalidasa as not a Kavi. He's called a Shastra Kavi. Every dialogue he says will have some reference to a Shastra. It is present in it. So we had to choose the best.
So did you have did you send it to festivals outside? What about the Indian diaspora outside? Did it have an English title?
So, we took very little efforts to ensure that it travels anywhere outside. One, for the very reason, for example, it went for the Rajasthan International Film Festival. I didn't know who they were. We didn't apply. They saw some clips of it. They called, and there was no PR, nothing. We went there. They screened some 40 movies. I said, I've got a lecture tomorrow. I have to leave. They said, no, sir, I think your movie will be chosen. I said, what will you give? There's some trophy. And then I asked somebody else to collect and courier it to me. So, it's not that typical thing where we follow up on awards and what needs to be written in the form.
You did your duty and left it.
Yeah. So as simple as that, you can put it that way, or probably in the cinema world, there is a lot of work that needs to go into marketing the movie, speaking about the movie. So I don't think we literally concentrated. It was more about the making that we thought we should look into.
So why particularly cinema? Because you are such a popular speaker, heard in so many forums, and you said, okay, Natakam is rated as one of the things. But why particularly cinema?
All our art forms are very integrated, Shailajaji. For example, Marugelara vo Raghava, says Tyagaraja. It's a very famous song. One, you sing this song. Most of the performing musicians today, just not in Bharatadesha, abroad, are mostly Tamil speaking people. I would say a large section of them. So the point is, they wouldn't understand what is Marugelara. In Telugu Bhasha, Marugu ante madhyalo unna yavanika. The screen that you draw is called Marugu. So in the Telugu and the Kannada marriages, between the boy and the girl, there is a screen. Then they drop the screen. So here Tyagaraja tries to convey a thought what Sita would have felt for Rama. I've seen you before, but I still wish to keep looking at you. Why is the screen between the both of us? Marugu Yelara. Why is the screen between us? Marugu Yelara. Okka shabdam ante Marugelara. O Raghava. Now, when you sing, you have a certain emotion. When you understand the meaning, you sing it better. And third, when you see, probably, let's make it very contemporary. Let's say there's a Vijay Deverakonda here. There's a Rashmika Mandana, the other side. And there's a screen drawn. And they were dressed like the royals.
Like they were for their wedding.
Yeah. So there they sing Marugelara. Then immediately the people can relate to. See, the thing is, how do we take Tyagaraja to the audience? We keep telling we have to take them to the masses. And we say you have to come and attend, understand the Arohanam, Avarohanam of Jayanta Shri Ragam, and then nobody's going to learn. So cinema is one of the best mediums to carry forth an idea. And I, as a speaker on religious scriptures, I honestly believe that cinema should not be seen as a taboo. Some of them in the religious sphere, oh, you're singing, oh, you should not do that. You're dancing, you should not do that. Don't watch cinema. Then how would you convey to your grandson? So there is, I feel that music, dance, speaking, books, cinema, they're all related. So they're all integrated. It's like one thali. It's just there apart. We should see them together. So the same Kalidasa Shakuntalam, M.S. Subbalakshmi acted and G&B acted. The same Kalidasa Shakuntalam became two cinema movies in Hindi. One in Malayalam, one in Kannada, one in Kannada Rajkumar, Dr. Rajkumar acted. In Telugu it was N.T. Ramarao who acted.
So you saw all of this before you made it?
All of them. And the irony was, it is like making Silappadigaram in Greek, Latin, Spanish, Russian, but not making it in Tamil. So Shakuntalam has been made literally in every language but in Sanskritam. And we had people like G.V. Iyer in those days with little resources. What great work he did. So what we have done is no big rocket science.
Beautiful, because just as you said, should you sing, should you dance, people say if you're doing Sanskritam or talking seriously, you shouldn't do that. I think the other way around also, cinema should also be open to works of Kalidasa. Today's Tamil cinema may not be that open, and especially with so much of Viscom and things coming, if students can actually go back to literature, especially native literature, and look at it, it'll be beautiful. And I think I grew up with Carnatic music, but innigida Marukelara oda artham enakku purinjudhu. I'm sorry, but and we need speakers like him. It's like amazing. I can sit here and just think, oh my God, how did I not see this when you introduced me? And now coming to what is it about this text of Shakuntalam that still engages you? You read about it, you filmed it, you're still so passionate about it.
I cannot kind of make it very colloquial, but one of the marriage vivaha vidhis that we have in Sanatana Dharma is Gandharva Vivaham. So there are 8 kinds of marriages. There is one called Brahmam, there is one called Prajapatyam, there is called Daivam, there is called Paishacham. Rukmini says about Rakshasam, Maya Rakshasena Vidhina, she says in Dashamaskandham. One is Gandharva. This is one of the very simplest of all marriages because it literally doesn't involve most of the samskaras that we do of going around Agni, doing Saptapadi, doing Laja Homam, doing Kanyakadanam, nothing. So it should relate to the current and the forthcoming generations because it is somewhat like a live-in relationship. Somewhat. I don't remember the movie of Preeti Zinta and Saif Ali Khan. They were living together and then she got pregnant. Then she started questioning because they agreed to be partners, but then she eventually got pregnant and then it was about shaadi ke side effects ho hi jate hain. So that's how. So similarly is this story. So they agreed to have a Gandharva Vivaham, but the moment she had a child, she wanted some good security. Then she came to the king. So see, you see bits and pieces of Shakuntalam in most movies. So a person forgets. For example, I think Surya, who is Gajini, forgets who Asin is. So here Dushyanta forgets who Shakuntala is.
Premam, that famous thing. You forget.
You forget. So, bits and pieces of all this you see in movies. So Shakuntalam is still relevant. But of course, you don't see those long dialogues. Tapati, Tanugatri, Madanaha, Twa, Manisham. He doesn't speak such long. Most of the actors can't.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Yeah. Especially when we are casting North Indian women in South Indian films. So which brings us, you got a North Indian man in this film. And I think that was the only voice. So when I asked about Shakuntalam, was it we heard Dushyanth in Dushyanth's role, and so we heard the voice, and I think that was the only person who took dubbing. You mentioned that dubbed voice.
Even for Payal, absolutely amazing artist whom we worked with, even Shubham. For both, we had Deepika who sings, Deepika
Okay.
Varadarajan, Sudha Raghunathan's student. She sang in the movie and she also spoke. So it was such a beautiful gel of the voice. So that voice continued and I spoke for Dushyanta. Not because I feel my voice is anyway better. It's about Sanskritam pronunciation. So, Tapti Tan Gatri Madan Tvam Ansham Mam. That's, you can't speak Sanskritam like Hindi, right? So it's Tapati Tanugatri Madanaha. So that Shantakad, Bujuk Shen, Padna, Suresh, Vishwadar, Gagan Sadish, Meghvan, Shubhang. It was attendance study hai.
I mean, we have differences like Mahabharat, Mahabharatham. Now on the FFR, dosa, not dosa, dosai.
No, illa Shailaja ji.
even
What
other
I'm
differences
trying to
there.
say is, see, for example, you use the same Sanskritam words in Hindi. You can speak like Hindi. There's no problem. But when you know, we make fun like, right, for example, number kite varan, ninge solran, enge ukandukran. Same thing happens with Sanskritam.
And this is your Sanskritam film. There
Yeah,
are characters.
but I'll tell you, Shubham was so good because they had to literally by heart the dialogues. There was no, who will prompt? See, just imagine this movie, you can't have a person who's prompting. Generally in serials, na ipo unkita, na vare. Who will prompt here? And then I have to bring one Sanskrit scholar from, he won't be able to prompt the same way.
So you didn't have prompting.
No prompting, they had to by heart.
But you didn't go for sync sound either.
No, we didn't, because then Tapti
two
Tat
actors
Gatri will come.
majorly.
Yeah. So they spoke literally so well. For me to dub was very easy. So just that the, k, pronunciations is what we had to do.
But was there problem in dialogue delivery, or sometimes when we think of the line, like I remember because we worked with K. Balchandar, Naga
Yeah.
and all, the sound was sync sound. And when dubbing, because of cost cutting, dubbing came, I found it difficult because and then they went into this culture, line koduppo, you do it like that. So my thing is like, I'm trying to listen to it, Madhuri. Did you have such problems? I found I could not be that character so well if I took prompt.
True. See, now when of course, I have to mention about one person whom I've always wanted to meet in my life, and I finally met him a year and a half back. It is Naga. And I have watched and rewatched all his creations so many times, and literally it was a fanboy moment for me to have met him a year and a half back. That said, see, you're talking about veteran directors, you have acted in Rudraveeni, and I've seen you so many times. So, see, here in the movie, we had, I think, barring 4 people. There was Raghav, there was Mohan Ram, there was YG Mahendra, Varadarajan. So, and then SM Shivkumar. So, 5 of them. They were the only people who were above 60. No, Raghav was below 60, yeah. And they all had years. Everybody else, they were new to camera, so was I. So, I can't even compare with what you have undergone. But here, people by hearted. So, that was one thing that I insisted. 4 months before the dialogues were sent, I had to send the voice notes. You have to by heart, send it back to me, I will correct. So, they had to by heart.
The emotions were easy.
To some extent, because I gave the English translation also. So they had to Nalini Patra Sukumari Evam Patram Arnam Kuru. So there's a Nalini Patra Sukumari. Look at Kalidasa. I ask you for a paper. I'll just say, give me the paper. He says, give me that. I brought that leaf for you, which can be used as the paper that is as soft as the skin of a parrot in its lower abdomen. So, Nakai Nikshipta Varnam Kuru. With that, you draw for one simple paper. Just imagine speaking even half the dialogue at home. You would be considered like one of the last words of the retort of Oliver Goldsmith's City Night piece. But they had to by heart.
Yeah.
They had to literally by heart. Even however old you are. Even YG Mahendra sir. அங்கே வந்து பண்ணிக்கிறேன் இல்லை சார் நீங்கள் பண்ணி அமைச்சிருங்க கெஞ்சி கூத்தாடி அபிவாதையை சொல்லி அவர்கிட்ட வாங்கினேன்.
So, but in terms of delivery, because there's a style, if you see Tamil or Hindi also, Mughal Asam time, there's a certain kind of delivery in which we were speaking. Was there a change? How did you fix where you wanted?
See, Sanskritam even if you speak as a dialogue, it will sound like a shlokam.
Is it because we've heard it in slokams more?
No, because the language construct itself is very poetic. So it is not like ni po variya. I don't know how to put it. For example, Nakhair nikshipta varnam kuru. If you just recite this, it will sound like a shloka. Kai o nagatala எழுது நகைர் நிக்ஷிப்த வர்ணம் குரு அப்படி சஹஸ்ரநாமம் சொல்ற மாதிரி இருக்கு பாருங்க. So that's about that language. That probably that is why the language couldn't percolate into the real masses as a spoken language widely. Because it has a certain construct, and the construct is very poetic. It is absolutely picture perfect. See, every language comes up with a colloquial dialect.
Like Tamil has a Shuddha Tamil and a...
Yeah, so see, the language lends itself. If, for example, Kannada, ee pantayalli hogbeku, inda valiya pono. But today we say ee rasteyalli hogbeku. Rasta is not a Kannada word.
Yeah.
But we have borrowed it. See, we say khata in Bangalore. That's a Persian word. So Sanskritam doesn't lend itself. I would say it's not that flexible. It's not that malleable. It's very formative and very beautiful in approach. It also talks about perfection, and
So
we don't
that's
want
why we don't have a
perfection.
colloquial version of that.
I wouldn't say there's no colloquial version. There could be one, but we have to spot that one.
So today I was just asking how many people speak, and that elderly gentleman was saying, and somebody else was saying they speak Sanskritam. But if they were to talk Sanskritam today, like I know there's a village in Karnataka where they speak. Is it how they speak in this?
See, it's called Mattur near Shivamogga, which is Shimoga. There, the lines are, see, most of them who speak, yes, the commoners also speak, are Vedic Pandits because a lot of them live there. So they're used to it. But Kutraha Agachati, that lady who's a mason will ask there. I've been to the village. Mutra Leha, because they have to talk. See, people will ask, where's the toilet? So they are very mutra layahaka. They're used to those words. But as a language, this is my opinion. Somebody else could correct me. But it's a very beautiful language. Too sophisticated to actually percolate the masses. It can be done over a period of time. I wouldn't say no, but it takes that little time.
So, but you think it's going to live through?
It will. See, that is what I'm trying to say. Whoever kind of even opposes Sanskritam, maybe theologically, ideologically, politically, he will have Sanskritam names.
Yeah. We've often
See,
seen
that's so. The point is, they are not able to overcome that. I'm not saying if you have names from Tamil or maybe other languages, it is bad. It is equally good. Atturai, Nappinai, Alvarkadiyan, beautiful names. But rarely you get to see. It's Avinash, Satish, these are the names that you see. So language lives through names. See, the biggest identity for you is, Shylaja ji, your name. If your name itself is in a language, that till you're dead, that name is going to stay with you.
And I think there's a nice game you can play with the name, like Shylaja. When I understood, it actually gave me something personal in moments when I feel low. The name took on something.
You're Parvati, you're Parvata Rajakumari, Malai Magal. So, see, anybody, just before we answer, anybody whose name is not from Sanskritam. Oh, his name is Marvi. So, there is a Divyadesham near Mayavaram called Ter Alundur. Kamban was born there. So Bhagavan has a Sanskritam name called Go Sakhan. Go Sakha, the friend of the cattle, the bovine race. In Tamil, Go is A. That is why we say A Vin Pal. So A Marivi Appan, the one who shows unconditional love to the cows and the calves. So there is one person with a beautiful Tamil name, A Marivi. Anybody else whose name is not Sanskritam derived. So you have 99.9999%.
Yeah, angel is just saying.
Angel. So she is an angel. She looks like one. So she is an angel. So you see one angel and one Amaravi. A is done. So everybody else from B and C, they're all.
Yeah, like I remember my husband's name is originally Ramanujan, அவங்க அப்பா அதை வந்து அருண் குமார் he made it. But even Arun Kumar is...
Ramanujam is also Sanskritam.
I know it
Arun
is.
Kumar is also
so
Sanskritam.
he tried to avoid that and bring it in A, but it is still a Sanskritam name.
Yeah.
But speaking so well about languages, so you made a film which is remarkably faithful to Kalidasa's text. Did you ever wrestle with the thought that a more contemporary adaptation might have introduced this timeless story to a much wider, younger audience? And where did you finally draw this line between preservation of the language and reinterpretation in whatever way? Because even now you say about living together or something, and we all talk today about marriage losing its relevance other than the fact that it holds the children and makes it easy to bring up children. You have all those talks today. So how did you decide to remain faithful to the text and not reinterpret?
We have Raji here. So she was telling me way back in 2020 end. She was telling me, why don't we make it contemporary? That was her thought. A very good thought. It will resonate well with the audience, but you wouldn't need a Dushyanth Sridhar to direct it. See, if it has to be made contemporary, it cannot be in Sanskritam.
Yeah.
Some man called Rizvi sits in New York Center working in Manhattan. I can't have Sanskritam dialogues for him. It will again become Tamil or...
So here the language became important as a medium.
So
of...
the movie needed Dushyanth only because of its language. If it had been in any other language, you have a plethora of such talented directors across Bharatadesha. Who am I?
Yeah, just like you have Vishal Bharadwaj has taken so much of Shakespeare's work and done
Omkara,
it.
Othello, right?
Yeah, Haidar, Omkara, Makbul, all of these things. And they're all unmistakably Shakespeare but set in India. And today we are having, all of us are discussing Homer's Odyssey or things like that. Do you think it's a stage of great epics? Do you think our Indian classical texts are waiting for more such cinematic reinterpretations? Do you think we have a cultural responsibility to preserve them closer to the original form only? Because in Homer, I think Nolan interprets it different from the way the original author wrote it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I'm too small a director to even be speaking about cinema and cinema rendezvous. I'll be very frank. Because veterans would have spoken here. But since you're talking about adaptations of literature in modern cinema these days, I would say in cinema these days, looking at some of the trailers, honestly, every director needs a costume designer called Lakshmi. Because, see, honestly, aesthetics is not something that's like they're stitched in us when we are born. From a very young age, your parents or grandparents or the kith or kin around you keep telling you this is beautiful. So when your mother shows you the Sesharayar Mantapam of Srirangam and just says, how beautiful, that word and the pillar will get etched in your mind like the pensieve of Harry Potter. It just goes into your mind. So then from then on your aesthetics develops and then you start seeing such beautiful colors and everything. So I also feel it's about a palette that we offer on screen. So honestly, she's there. There's only a Shastra Vakyam, Pratyakshe Guravastutyat. You should praise only your teacher, nobody else. But I would say in that way she's a teacher because she has really taught me what costumes are so beautifully done. I would say that elegance, that elan with which she is presented. Because this was done when it was a wave called the Delta. You remember in 2021 when every box was given its ceremonial bath outside the house so that the corona doesn't come in. So in those months of March, April, May 2021 is when we directed. So we spent about 3 lakhs on RT-PCR tests for everyone. Okay. And somebody was getting this COVID. And at that time, she went to Gandhi Gram, bought khadi, then put them into indigo colors. They were all naturally dyed colors. And all of the jewelry that you see are stitched and sculpted and carved and made. And whatever you see of gold that Shakuntala and Dushyanth are wearing was thrice the budget of our movie because Vumidi had come. So they came with 2 vans with the police force And I was more concerned about the jewelry because that's all. It will eat into the entire budget. So it was more. So it was all gold and diamonds that they were wearing. And the clothes were all beautifully done by her. So it's about the aesthetics. So you're talking about the modern adaptations, right? First of all, when I look at some of the colors, Sita is wearing a blouse. What will I do? Where did you have Sita wearing a blouse? When stitching was a taboo, you cannot stitch. You should never stitch. Stitching was a sign of poverty. So he was called the man with poorly stitched clothes. So he was called Kuchela. Kuchela means poorly stitched. So you cannot stitch. Sita is wearing blouse. Thank God she didn't wear Sabyasachi's one. So the thing is, one is about the adaptation and it is also about how true. See, if you end up, some of them always want to showcase Ravana's point of view. This has become very common these days. From Ravana's point of view, he will say abducting Sita was right. See, how can you see from the criminal's point of view? I can't understand. So he is abducted. He's caught in a kidnapping case. And you ask the person who has committed the crime, in your point of view, what you've done, he'll say it is right. So this modern adaptation, I absolutely
But
disagree.
isn't that what literature or discussion about various points of views, I mean, for me that was okay, but what I found very interesting, for me Ravana's point of view, if somebody is saying it's fine, but then reinterpreting Ravana without knowing proper data, which I got from one of your talks, what Ravana was, today we think of him as something else which he originally wasn't. So that is the problem there.
Yeah, so see, if we have an ideology to oppose one person, we have to make the other person good. You don't like Rama, you have to make Ravana good. So you will have to whitewash all his sins. You have to say that Sita herself made herself accessible so that he can kidnap her. She said, okay, let's meet Rama. Rama's just gone. You'll have to come up with all these kind of stories. Because your objective is not to show even a point of view. It is about opposing a certain person.
Mm.
So, and just because he lived south of Tamil Nadu, it is assumed he spoke Tamil. See, these are all the problems.
That's the reel I saw of yours.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. Then even Anura Kumara Dissanayaka, who's a president, must also be speaking Tamil. But he doesn't. He speaks only Singalam. So, of course, I'm digressing into the point. So the point is, you asked, what about the modern adaptations? I'm absolutely in awe of cinema as such. I watch every series. When you're talking about ЩАКУНТАЛАM, a part of it where the child grows with the mother and later gets to know who the father is, comes in a 2011 Pakistani drama called Humsafar. So there is Fawad Khan. So she's got a daughter. And then later they get to know in the last part that he's the father. Fawad is the father. So you see adaptations of it. So my point is, adaptations are fine, but don't change the entire plot. Thank God they don't make Rama kidnap Sita. That will be another point of view.
So reinterpreting things like being a captive and developing feelings for the captor, those are things you wouldn't want to touch.
Yeah, that way Ravan was not the one.
Yeah. So now I just want to see, like
She didn't want to name the movie, I did.
We don't have to. Sometimes it's obvious. So, but anyway, you were saying you're too small to speak in Cinema Rendezvous. Not at all. For what you've done, you're big, not just with cinema. And cinema is just a part of so many things you do. I think even as audience, we become a particular kind of audience because of everything else we do. As a mother, we are, as a sister, as somebody living in that street and doing something. So I think you're more than relevant to be talking about anything, because as a juror in some of these short film festivals, the kind of films that come, sometimes I think anything goes in the. So it is good to have a little bit of structure. But I was just thinking, Mahabharatam, in a way, in Mahabharatam, Shakuntalam's story was a part of it. While talking to Naga, we've often spoken about all these things. Just like how in the great epic Greek epic was written by Homer, I think here Kalidasa wrote one story of Mahabharatam, and what is special about that story was that it debated whether legacy or capability determines who succeeds as a ruler or king. The little boy we saw there goes on to address something beautiful about Mahabharatam, which is such a relevant topic today, and you are somebody whom we see in so many forums talking about contemporary society. So the debate of merit over bloodline, or dharma should prevail over bloodline. Because for those of us who don't know, some of us don't know what Bharata said, that none of his children were capable of being the next ruler or something like that. What are your thoughts on that? Would you think that would make a good Tamil film? Maati vidla.
So first, Kalidasa's work called ЩАКУНТАЛАM itself is his adaptation of a plot from Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, there is a Dushyanta, there is a Shakuntala, there is a Shakuntala who has been nourished and nurtured by Kanva of Kashyapa Gotra. She is the daughter of Menaka and Vishwamitra. All that is done. Correct. Same. Tick mark. Ho gaya. Similarities. I'll tell you where the differences lie. Shakuntala, after having birthed a son who is Sarvadamana, later Bharata, comes to the assembly of Dushyanta. That is where Dushyanta doesn't recognize her. There is an ashariri vak, an ethereal voice that says that if you don't accept, this is your wife, she's a pativrata nari, accept her, and so on and so forth. Then they all come together. So what happened in between? So Kalidasa 1800 years back thought, what could have happened so wrong that Dushyanta doesn't remember a lady whom he had shared his life space with? That is when he introduces a character called Durvasa, and then he brings the ring, and the ring is where she's lost, and then Durvasa curses her that I curse you hereby, that you have been thinking about some person while you have to attend to me. So I curse you that the person whom you're thinking about will forget about you. What a complicated curse he gave. So that person will forget about her. And then she goes in search, loses that ring, and then she lands in court where he doesn't remember her. So doesn't remember her is taken from Mahabharata. How he doesn't remember her is Kalidasa's own plot. But the beauty is, Kalidasa has ensured that he has taken a small detour to come back to the same junction because there was a metro construction.
He doesn't change the basic emotional plot.
He doesn't change the plot. So that said, you were asking me about Tamil cinema taking.
Can we take this whole bloodline legacy stuff?
See, kings, we've often been told that it was just hierarchy, the king's son who will become a king. So there it's more about bloodline and not about merit. This is what we've been told and fed all these years. And people who have fed this thought actually are dynastic in a way. The last 60 years we have been told that you should elect only upon merit. Innarudaya payyan doesn't become. But, I don't have to get into politics. You just do a sweep of all the parties in Bharata Desha. It will always be dynastic. Now, let's not go there. Let's assume all of their children are extremely meritorious, very well read. Let's assume. Let's give that credit to them. Now, coming to dynasty, it was not about, even if the person is incapable, you'll hold him. There was a king called Vena in Srimad Bhagavatam. The king was such a tyrant. He was so very obnoxious to his people. The people got together and killed him. There's a king. Just because he was somebody's son, he was not retained. Bharata, even after Rama had his Pattabhishekam and Sita had gone into Bhumi, he says, Bharata, you take this. Bharata says, no, I'm not meant to receive this kingdom. So we have seen selfless kings. We have seen people who are incapable, who were not given. For example, Dhritarashtra was the older one, Pandu was the younger one. Yet Pandu was chosen. So you have plenty of such instances. And a king had to be an all-rounder. See, even 300 years back, one of the greatest Telugu poems we celebrate called Amukta Malyada, best of some Telugu literature, comes from a king called Krishna Devaraya. So a king was well read, so well read, he could fight, he could write. So they were all-rounders. So to bring down dynasty, I'm sure Tamil cinema is undergoing that phase. I'm sure good days will come. Where, it's always about caste and oppression and hierarchy. We don't need to always make a villain out of someone in the society to bring forth our thoughts. And I honestly feel whether bloodline or whether it is merit has to win. if the king has a good son, Kusha was a very good successor to Rama. He was made the king of Kushavati. So was Lava, he was made of Shravasti. So you should have good kings and they should become all-rounders. They should know Shastram and Shastram. That is how kings were. So Tamil cinema can take, but I don't know which director.
So would you any day be interested in making films which are contemporary like this, taking the references from Itihasas?
I need a person called Naga who will be directing. I've told this to him a year and a half back that I will be his assistant. I can always contribute that way. See, for the movie, I'll tell you, it was not an easy task because I'm a writer, I'm a speaker. You should not do too many things. Then you lose that responsibility. But for this movie I had to do, because it was a Sanskrita movie. When it's a contemporary movie, everybody is aware of the languages, the time period. So you need a veteran like him.
Yeah, so you carried a lot of weight in this film, and we'll come to that. But there was a right time for me to ask you a question which one of our members, Neela, had asked. When sages are working towards spiritual elevation and moksha, etc., can be cursing Shakuntala for such a trivial reason, and that too in such a serious curse? Is it not, you got the drift of it.
Yeah.
Why is it so? Do sages have anger management issues?
So, two things. I told you this is an adaptation from a real plot of the Mahabharata by Kalidasa. So, he introduced Durvasa as a character. He could have introduced anybody else, but he introduced Durvasa because Durvasa was known for giving curses. And there is a work in Tamil called Villiputturar in Bharadam. Like how you have Kambaramayanam, Villiputturar Bharadam. There Villiputturar asks, everybody does austerities to increase strength. What does Durvasa do? He says he curses. So cursing was the way. And you know his name suggests, Shylaja, Vasa means to live. We say right, Nivasa, Padma Nivas. Vasa means to stay. Durvasa is a person with whom you can't stay. Durvasa. You cannot stay. Yo, ivaroda yaar irpa.
Creativity was there.
So, engathu Durvasa nu solra parunga. Yo, ivaroda yaar irpa. Avareda. So, good he didn't marry. So anger management issues, I would say, see, all our scriptures are very realistic, Shylaja. See, we see Rama as Purushottama. There's no doubt. He is Dharmo Vigrahavan. 2-3 instances. When Viradha, the moment they enter the forest, Viradha, a Rakshasa, comes and abducts Sita. Rama runs behind, Sita! He doesn't stop with that. He says, now my mother Kaikeyi will be happy to see me like this. There is a dialogue in the Ramayana. Oh. Can we even imagine Rama saying this? Because Atmanam Manusham Manye, he is a man, he is a human. A human will always blame someone. So that comes, right? So, and when Samudra Raja doesn't come after, he does Prayopavesham, 3 days fast, not at Jantar Mantar. So he fasted, and Samudra Raja doesn't come. When Samudra Raja doesn't come, Rama gets angry. Sinattinal Tennilangai Komanai Chetra, his eyes turn red and he just looks and flares up at the ocean. So there is anger. So anger is not seen as a bad quality in our Shastram. Drape andhasaspate daridran nilalohita, says Sri Rudram. Anger as a quality to the right person at the right time in the right proportion is a virtue. Yeah, இப்போ 2 பேர் போயிட்டு இருக்கா ரோட்ல செயினை கடத்தின்னு போயிடுறா, the wife expects the husband will run like Hrithik Roshan. அப்போ அவர் இல்லம்மா, சத்துவம்ங்கிறது ஒரு குணம், வந்த பொருள் போயிடும்னா முதல்ல அவர் தான் அடி வாங்குவார். So you know, in certain occasions you have to. So anger is not seen as a bad quality. It is seen as a virtue in certain occasions. And Durvasa is known for that. So Kalidasa intelligently used.
So not everyone is an Avadara Purusha. We don't have to...
Durvasa was an Amsha of Rudra. He was born to Anasuya and Atri. He was an Atreya. Atri and Anasuya had 3 sons. Brahma's avatara was Soma. Shiva's Rudramsha was Durvasa. Narayana's avatara was Datta.
So since he came as a son of Atri, he was Atreya. So Datta plus Atreya became Dattatreya. So he was an Amsha of Shiva. Durvasa has, there is one Kshetra in Erode. There's a Kasturi Rangan temple where Durvasa had come for reducing his anger. And there's a beautiful silver door there in that temple, made by Sri E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar's mother. She had donated that door. You can see E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar kodutha velli kadavu.
Nice to know so much of history. And but I was also thinking when Neela posed this question to me, we look at everything that's created in literature or cinema as something we want today, what we define as feminism or women point of view. For example, when Mani Ratnam's other film came, when Karthi was this Air Force...
Okay, Kanmani. No, wait.
No, the other one.
Kaatru Veliyidai.
Kaatru Veliyidai. There's so much talk, how can a man be like that? But there are men like that who love us a lot. That is a reality. And you are talking about a warrior who goes to fight. There is a certain kind of... So you can't expect everyone to have the same kind of balance. And I think stories, literature, cinema, the joy is in exploring all that.
Yeah,
right?
and we don't show what an ideal world is through cinema. If that's our objective, then we should be done with just one cinema. So it is not an ideal world. See,
and
the
which
same
cinema would that be?
I just can't think of one, because there's no idea. When you speak about, oh, all the virtues are there in this person, everybody is virtuous, I don't think so. None of our scriptures are that way. So you spoke about Kaatru Veliyidai. I think even Animal, to a large extent, was a lot misogynistic the way we see it today.
Yeah, so a lot of things get redefined. Now, Kalidasa wrote a play, not a screenplay. Tell us the process by which you went about selecting what to keep, what not to keep, how to play with silences, in what order to show.
First, it was a big task to reduce dialogues, because there were long lines. And for every line, there'll be a poem. See, it's actually prose and poetry together, which is a champu. It's like a drama that Kalidasa has presented. So as I speak, suddenly the character will break into a 10-line poem. So I have to cut that verses. Immediately, the Sanskrit scholars, the handful who will watch, will come pouncing on me, stating that, oh, that is supposed to be that Mala Alankara, which Appaya Dikshita has cited in Kuvalayananda. How did you miss that line? See, that was the first task, dialogues. Second thing, the screenplay itself, because it's a linear version what Kalidasa has given. They meet, they live together, he leaves, gives the ring, then she's pregnant, goes to him. So I had to do that little thing. It was not some innovative thing. Chop that. The second half where she gets pregnant, she has a sojourn to his palace, convinces him that this is her child. All this cut pieces I had to fit into the first half of the movie. So it's her journey to the palace. Every now and then in her journey, it will break. And then you show the past. So it's a thing that people already do in cinema. So of course, Raji and others, they were very helpful, because they all come with years of experience in cinema. So they were able to fine tune it. But we can't do much with Kalidasa. See, at the end of the day, when I say it's an adaptation of Kalidasa, we have to present it the way he has done. He has written 2 more scenes, but I had to do away with all of that, because 96 minutes itself is like every minute is a few lakhs.
But that's beautiful that you decided it should be 96 minutes. That's such a lovely call.
Yeah, we wanted it to be even further, shorter. Because it's in Sanskritam, first of all. And we had other languages also. See, people who would have listened, you would have heard one Tirukkural. There was 2 lines of Telugu, 3 lines of Malayalam. Now, there is a historical question. Did these languages exist? That is why none of these languages anybody spoke in the movie. It was only in the background. So they didn't speak. So there will be some historian who will come and say, so it was just Mugai Mukku Ulladu Nattam Pennin Mugai Natpil Ulladu Pol Undu. So there is Tirukkural something. So we had to insert it as a background, because at the end of the day, we are a Milesur Mera Tumhara generation. We love all languages. Someday I would want to tell those people who are opposing Sanskritam truth and name. See, in Tamil, in a Sanskritam movie, we have brought Tirukkural. See, there should be a give and take between languages.
So, while we spoke about the screenplay, all the other elements in a film that go on to give the visual language, specifically about cinematography, which is a lot more difficult. And you worked with some of the best technicians. You put together a wonderful team. How long did it take for you for this pre-production in terms of the story script?
It was I would say rushed because one, there was COVID, and COVID was the best time because most of them were less occupied.
Did you start the project because it was COVID and you had
No, we started the project and then the COVID came.
Oh.
No, I thought of the project and the COVID came. While I was working on the project, the COVID existed. Honestly, I wrote the story like in 2019 and 20 with nothing in my hand. So then we had to do the team. So 2020, 21, March, April, May, June, July, August, we were done. So
How many days of shooting, sir?
Shooting, I would say we did a few in Chennai, some in the outskirts. So we wanted to shoot in some forests of Andhra. We went and did all of the recce and everything. It was a beautiful forest. But then there was some restriction about number of people traveling in a bus from one border to the other. So we went to the thorny forests in the outskirts of Tambaram. You have to assume these are the Kurujangala Pradesha or in
Like
the
we
lower
normally
parts.
do for many projects.
Yeah,
sir.
you had to do it.
But you had excellent locations.
Yeah, so that was because of ASI. I have to thank through this video because it was the 75th year of independence. So ASI had said, cinema people can come and shoot free of cost. So we barely paid 10,000 as caution deposit. We would get it back. So we went to the Chalukyan Triangle, Pattada Kallu. Patta anta helidre post. Kallu is stone. So the place where they coronate the next king is called Pattada Kallu. We say Pattada Kal. Pattada Kallu, Aihole and Badami. Beautiful Chalukyan architecture. It's all granite, but it has a reddish tinge, that pinkish tinge. On the other hand, we had Mahabalipuram. See, this Tiger Caves is one of the world's first stone stages constructed to showcase drama. So we shot Yakshagana there. So then we went to Somanathapura, the jewel of Hoysala architecture. Then we went to Lepakshi of the later Vijayanagara period. So these locations, again, historically this is wrong because none of these temples...
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, sometimes with the Ramayana or Mahabharata, we sometimes have references in the Edathile, in the other. Idhula vandu, did you have any references? Instead of creating a fictional India, you went to these places. I think Pallava, Chalukya, Hoysala, Vijayanagara you mentioned now. So how did you interpret that this place will be here, this will fit in here?
It came during the storyline. That's what. So Chinna Vayasilenda, when we go to temples, those pillars get etched in your minds.
Is that why there's no marble and Rajasthani stone studded?
Yeah, somehow I am in awe of the Dilwara temples in Mount Abu. Beautiful they are. But somehow I feel the rustic finish of granite, I don't get it in those soft marbles. And I'm sure there would have been stone buildings even in the Ramayana times, because I'm telling you, because there are 4 references in the Ramayana, Chaityanam Iva. And Hanuman in Sundarakanda lifts one of the pillars of Chaitya Mantapa and drops it on the sons of Dhumraksha. So there is a reference to temples. So stone temples existed. Marble, Makrana, I'm not sure. And first of all, taking all the people to Rajasthan.
So it was a production call.
Production call. This is all in a vicinity. We didn't even go further south of Trichy.
So where was originally Shakuntala living? Is there a
So this is all
reference
it's all Kurujangala Pradesha. So some parts of Uttarakhand, upper parts of Uttar Pradesh. See, that was Aryavarta between Ganga and Yamuna. So it will either happen there or it will happen by Saraswati in Rajasthan or some parts of Sindhu. Not here. But, I have to mention, since she asked this question, recently we had the Anai Mangalam plates. If you remember, the Honorable Prime Minister got that back from Netherlands. It was a Chola era plates, like we have Sinnamannur, we have Velvikudi plates. The plates clearly talk about the Vamsha. It talks about Vivaswan, it talks about Vaivasvatamanu, it talks about Ikshvaku, it talks about Vikukshi, it talks about Mandhata, Puranjaya, then it comes to the brother of Ambarisha. His name is Purukutsa, and Purukutsa had another brother. So their Vamshavali, they started coming down. there is a king called as Shwetavarman who ruled some parts of the current day Angadesha, Bangladesh and West Bengal. So he had Shwetavarman, his skin had white patches. So he came all the way to Chidambaram and he performed tapas. And by Shiva's grace, he became Hiranyavarman. And he settled. He came from the land of the tigers, Sundarbans. That person had this tiger emblem. So Cholas got that emblem. So Anaimangalam plates talks about Dushyanta, Bharata, and then through that Puruvamsha we come across the current day Raja Chola and everything. So there is a connection there.
I'm sure with people talking like this and all the interest in epics, we are going to have a whale of a time as audience, I guess. Now, coming back to working with the cinematographer, Maggie, whether deciding the aspect ratio, lights, camera movement, can you tell us a little about the process you went through?
I think I'm quite amateur to talk about all of this because I was just about the location, the dialogue delivery, how it looks on the screen.
And whether you were getting that feel of what you wanted visually in a frame.
I was getting it. That was very important for me, the delivery, the acting. So my very good friend Srinivas Kanna, KT Srinivas, he was taking care of that aspect ratio, the kind of camera, because they are in and out in this field. So they were able to get that done.
And what about translating poetry into images? How did you work on that?
Poetry into images. To some extent, I love the color palette of Sanjay Leela Bhansali. The way he, but of course, he erects sets. It will be costlier than the real monument itself.
You've been smart in working on that.
Yeah, but at times you feel he overdoes it also with the grandeur, like the one in Hiramandi. But the color palette is beautiful. So that way, ASI's places gave me that luxury. You know, what can match Badami caves? What can match Tiger caves? And the rest of it was done by Lakshmi.
What about the usage of nature? I even noticed that last scene when I walked in now, where he's coming, there's like, the audio was layered in so well where it suggested, you know, everything else happening. Whereas you just shown just that chariot come in. So how did you work on different aspects like this, whether it was sound layering, all the other aspects of cinema, usage of nature, where to show what shot, those choices, how did you make?
See, with respect to nature, with respect to the waterfalls and with respect to the trees and the flora and the fauna, I wouldn't say I was very happy with it because I would have typically expected Devdar trees. Devadaru, he calls it, tall trees, you know, that is the real Shakuntalam. We had to live with Tambaram trees and the short thorny plants. We couldn't do much about it, but you know, to complement the music, the languages, the costumes, the ASI locations, the nature could have been much better.
What about the dance forms? I'm just rushing through, though I'd love to speak to him for hours about all this. Very interesting choices, especially with Yakshaganam or all those things. Very aptly placed also. Is that a reference from the original text, or how did you interpret Bharatanatyam enga, Odissi enga?
So that is all my choice. There's no dance and all in the movie. I wanted to bring in Odissi because I work hugely with many dancers. So we do dance production. So I believe the dance forms have to come into a movie. And we had Vishwamitra and Menaka do a bit of Mohiniyattam, a bit, just through eyes. Because I had to convey that they fell in love. And making Vishwamitra run behind Menaka around a tree and all is too bad. He gave us Gayatri Mantra. So we just made it. So we made a padam. We chose a padam. Panimati mukhi bale padmana bhanyanil. So there is a padam. So that padam was able to convey that virahatapam, that love. And Yakshagana is a folk form. See, for me, I feel Bharatam is just not about one Bharatanatyam. It has so many art forms in it, and every art form has its own structure and beauty, the way they present. And when you see Yakshagana, they're too good. So this is Keremene Shivananda Hegde who did. What an artist he was. So I love. So then there is Bharatanatyam. Of course, Anita Guha did that Shyamala Dantakam, because Shyamala Dantakam, though we attribute it to Kalidasa, real scholars don't give it to Kalidasa because the structure is beautiful, but it's not Kalidasa's typical. But I've been so used to Shyamala Dantakam from my childhood. DKP used to sing in the morning, Kritivasa Priye Sarvaloka Priye Sadara Rabda Sangeeta Sambhavana. So I had to bring Shyamala Dantakam.
And you found a good place to keep it.
Oh, that was Lepakshi's mandapam. It's a beautiful mandapam. And we had to do it in the night. So Lakshmi had done the costumes in such a way that there is just the fire, and then we had to do. But then we realized the temple would close at 7. They won't give us the temple. So they danced during the day. But thank God Indra was very, very cooperative. So we didn't have like sun. It was cloudy, so everything was on the cloud.
So there's so much of Shringara Rasam in the topic that you took, and I'm sure you read so much about Natya Shastra, which I love exploring even for theatre today. So how did you decide? For example, there's this portion. Sometimes we think traditional aspects, women are a certain way only. Actually, you've broken all those things. I guess, being in that age group that you've been bold about those things. And there's this scene where she bends down from a horse to kiss him on his forehead. So all these calls, how did you, because you also belong to a traditional where you'll be criticized for it. How did you take these decisions?
See, criticism will stem whichever way we do. If I don't show, then there'll be another generation which says, what kind of a love story is this? Man is not even touching her. So there is always like 3 millimeter gap between the two. And suddenly Bharata jumps from heaven. So it is not going to happen. So, and one more thing is, if you really are a student of Samskrita Bhasha and you read the literature, you will read a lot more. So, Dasharatha, even when he meets his son, he never says hi. He will make Rama sit on his lap, bring his forehead down and kiss him on his forehead. Angad Angad Sambhavasi. So this is how they were in those days. I just showed a small aspect of it. I was aware of what I was. I'll start.
No, but I think that's such an important contribution with whatever dialogues are happening today, that we present it, like you said, our stories are so real.
Yeah, they are absolutely real. See, we have never been shy about showcasing Draupadi having 5 husbands. So she is the heroine of Mahabharata, and she is Krishna's closest friend. And she was polyandrous, and we don't even wink before we speak of her. So we have been, but to what extent I have to show, because I should not stop getting offers for or calls for upanyasams. So
I realize what a tightrope walk it is.
Yeah, so I had to stop at some point.
So who were your audience when you wrote this? Because the target audience becomes an important question, whether we're working for television or any of these things. Who are your audience?
I would say people who love to engage in Sanskritam as a bhasha. Because, see, to watch the entire movie, you should first have some respect for the language. Else what will happen is you will just keep dragging in. So these are the dialogues people are used to, right? See, even if you speak 2 extra lines in English, Parpitudra. So for English you get this line Peter Udra, then imagine what will happen for Sanskritam. So the point is, you should first have an unbiased opinion of languages. Appada you will be able to appreciate a Sanskrit movie. Else you will always paint a color on me. You will say he's a Brahmin, a Brahminical hierarchy, so he has taken this man. All this will come. The hero is not a Brahmin. I can give you the list of people who are not Brahmin. So I don't see the movie as, okay, this person is a Brahmin. Or it's a story. It's a story of a Kshatriya. As simple as that. But you should have that love for that language. If you hate the language, you can't watch this movie, because every minute your blood will be boiling. So this is the anger you'll have. Only when you have that that inquisitiveness to know. Hey, see, dialogue see, we all speak these words. Aye Rajaputra, Putra.
இப்படி தானே அந்த காலத்து நாதா நீங்கள் அப்படி சொன்னேலே. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி வார்த்தை தானே நம்ம சொல்கிறோம், புத்திர புத்ரி. ஸோ ஐ டோன்ட் திங்க் தீஸ் வேர்ட்ஸ் ஆர் லைக் ஏலியன் இல்லையா. சி ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் there's an entrepreneur. Okay, it's not an English word, it's entrepreneur. That's how you say it. It's restaurant, right? Restaurant இதெல்லாம் வாயில வந்துடும். இது காராசே, ரஷ்யாவில் ஒருத்தர் பேர் வச்சுருப்பார், காராசே கார்பேஜ் அதெல்லாம் வந்துடும். சம்ஸ்கிருதம் வராதுன்னா எப்படி? ஸோ ஐ பிலீவ் டு வாட்ச் திஸ் மூவி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அண்ட் foremost you should respect the language.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, when you got this film out, how was the commercial reception? What surprised you most?
We didn't release it in a screen.
You
We never got a certificate for that also.
Okay.
We never got a certificate because when we spoke to distributors first, they were very clear that, see, you have to dub this in an Indian language, Anuta. In 2020 when we spoke.
Oh, Sanskritam is not in.
No. What they're saying is, who will watch? For them, it was about who's watching. So you do the movie in Sanskritam. They had no problems. We wrote to 2 distributors. They said, you dub this and give us. You give it in Tamil, we will put. For me, that is gone. You do a movie in Sanskritam and then you dub it. I could very well do it in Tamil then.
So, is this just an artistic contribution when people
Absolutely,
like you
absolutely. See, like how G.V. Iyer made. G.V. Iyer made a beautiful movie on Adi Shankara, followed it up with Ramanuja, then Madhvacharya. Adi Shankara was completely in Sanskritam. It never got released in a theatre. But today when you look back, people watch. So that's how I feel this movie is.
A certain timelessness comes to it.
Yeah.
And so what about your whole production process? Would you get on to make another film with that whole experience? Because you worked with some of the best people, 3 national award winning. I mean, I could see that makeup, costume, everything Lenin sir has been on the editing.
Lakshmi Narayan audiography.
Yes.
And then we had
Sound is
Rajkumar
so good.
Bharati
Yes,
for
with the
music.
line. As well as Shravan.
Sai Shravanam. Then
as
Pattanam Rashid on the
makeup.
makeup. So see, be it music, be it the editing, be it costumes, we had people with that great sense and experience. There's no doubt. But that is why you're able to see the movie in a certain, because I was an amateur director. Okay, I have never even assisted a director. Generally in cinema, there's a
all you knew as an actor,
there's
Chetlur, what you did with
I've heard action. That's the only word.
and that again was a Sanskrit film.
That was, but
not a typical.
because it was a Sanskrit movie, I had to do it. So I could not give it to anybody else because then it will become a mundane process. Okay, in the sheet, first sheet, they can't even read that line. So otherwise, see, if you ask me what will happen in the future, I will surely assist someone. I told you I gave.
You got to compete with me.
I will assist you as well. So Yedu Podi. So I will be that. Okay, I'm ready to be a part of a journey, but owning a journey, because for me, rendering discourses 250 days a year is my Atma. Speaking about Ramayana and Mahabharata is what gives me strength. Movies are always secondary to me. So I wouldn't want to switch. So I will always assist because...
No, that you're very clear. But would you like to make these stories, assist in the process? Do you want it to be seeing visualized? If somebody made the story with that emotional arc, retaining that, but setting it in a Mumbai or something, which happens, epics are being reinterpreted, would you
I
be
can
for
just
it?
be a consultant. I wouldn't want to get into that full journey again.
So, language is a concern, or are itihasas more of an issue?
See, if for example, I'm just giving an open offer, if there is some genuine director who believes that Ramayana can still be made better, okay, I will still love to assist. Because there are finer details, Shylaja ji. Chuma or example kudukren. In the Ramayana, Hanuman has to recognize Sita. He has not seen her before. No profile picture. This man says she's got a pair of eyes, a pair of ears and nose and 32 teeth mostly. He has to go in the middle of the night, search in the entire Lanka, which is a foreign territory, and find a lady whom he has never seen. This is where he uses a lot of Tarka Shastra. This cannot be Sita, that cannot be Sita. It's like entrance exam. If we exam, this cannot be an answer, that cannot be an answer. We do that, right? Answer by rejection method. Same thing he does. There is one place where they talk about Sita in the Sundarakandam. She wears a pair of earrings. It's called Shvadamshtra. So what is Shvadamshtra? Valmiki says, for that commentary comes, it's a flower here with 3 leaves falling from it in gold. That's called Shvadamshtra. That is detailing in Ramayana. What color? She did not wear Valkalam. Sita did not wear hermit dress. She was wearing proper colorful silk clothes in the Ramayana when she was abducted. Pita Kausheya Vasinim, it had Hamsa motif. We were there in Lepakshi. Lepakshi has Hamsa and its pillars. She had that. So the detailing, what they speak, what they convey, which location, what should be on the flag. So that is how, if there is some director who listens, I will be one of those consultants who can tell him this is right, this is wrong. But of course, I would...
So when Hollywood takes up our stories,
I would
you
say
should be there.
Hollywood should do, because Ramayanam should be made in English. I'm very particular about that.
Mainstream.
Because Ramayanam lends itself to a world audience. It is just not meant between Arepuram and Mylapore. It needs to travel to the Beverly Hills and the Brentwood.
But what would you be feeling okay if, like Christopher Nolan, interpreted the story in a certain way? Would you be okay?
No.
So that would be the problem, right? When people go on to read
Yeah,
it.
so they have to have an agreement that they will not change even one thing of Valmiki. Then only I will do.
So you were saying that so many hours every day. How much time do you spend in preparing, reading for things? Because there's so much you keep referring to.
Learning happens as a part of my living, because I sleep at about 2 or 3 in the morning. So and then I have 4 hours of sleep. So it's about reading in the night, because that's the only time I get. And 250 lectures a year, 200 days of travel, then there's a production, then there are yatras, then there's a book writing, there's a trust that we manage. So learning comes as a part of, when we travel, I read the book on my hand. So I'm still a very old person in terms of, holding the book. I'm not very comfortable with reading the Kindle version, so I have to have the book in my hand. And even photos, I'm very much a person who loves to see the album rather than just
just go through digital copies. So you're talking about sleep and nights, and so tell me one single scene that gave you sleepless nights before you went for shoot.
I wouldn't say sleepless, but there's this little boy who's now my student, Vishnu. He learns with me on Upanyasams. He's now become a big boy now. He was the one who did on the Bharata role. So on one day when we had to shoot, Dushyanth has just returned from war. So there have to be some bruises. So they're all realistic heroes. They too had their faults. So there were bruises. So this boy was petrified and he said, I will not act. 3/4 of the day he refused to act. For me it was like, oh, production cost is running war. We tried buying Cadbury's, whatever chocolate was available. But we had to remove some bruises and then tell him these are not real ones, it's a fake ones. So that was a bit worrying for me, because the boy had to learn Prakritam. He's very talented. He spoke Prakritam. That little boy, maybe he was just about 4 or 5 that time. He spoke Prakritam. So we have trained him for months. And if this boy refuses, which boy will I find in the COVID period? Where will I teach Prakritam to this boy? So that was
Is there a stage in the film? These are typical film-related stuff, but the talk is going to go on YouTube and it's cinema-related. When did you feel, there are moments when the director feels, my film has arrived, this scene defines something? Were there moments like that?
I wouldn't say one moment, but whenever we shot in the ASI sites, I was in love. Because, there's something in stone. That background of Badami cave to where Shakuntala stands in the front itself elevates that scene, because the granite speaks, the stones literally speak. And Tiger Caves, how beautiful they are. Somanathapura is so beautiful. So Lepakshi was so beautiful. So for me, every time we shot in that scene, I would realize what aesthetics those sculptors had. And where are we today? Violet color pillars and green color.
Yeah.
We have lost it. So, green color houses and all I see. Violet color, who will even want to get inside that house? So, so those scenes were really.
And was there some scene which you felt Kalidasa ingirunda, how would he have? Was there that conversation you had with him?
Kalidasa would have sued me, he would have guillotined me because I took away 70% of his dialogues. See, he's a poet at the end of the day, right? So he has given like beautiful lines. I have taken away all those lines. See, for example, in ЩАКУНТАLAM Shylaja, there's a saying in Samskrita scholars, read ЩАКUNTALAM. In your life, before you die, read this work. And if you read this work, read the fourth amsha, which is the fourth act. In that fourth amsha, read the 4 shlokas which Kanva advises his daughter Shakuntala. Because Shakuntala is pregnant. The father realizes this. Then he says, okay, go to your husband's place. Take care, ma. Poiva magale, poiva. He doesn't say poiva magale. He says, you're going to your husband's place. You have to adjust with them. Whatever they say. These are all those typical dialogues. I took away all those. If I would keep all those dialogues, my wife will kill me. So, those long dialogues, adjust pannikano. All these are all dialogues there. So, see, Kanyadanam itself, people create such a hullabaloo today. Imagine these dialogues I give, they'll just shoot me, they'll have pellet guns at me. So, those things we had to do.
So do you advise in weddings also some things be taken off?
No, I would say interpret it in a nice way. It is not always about the way you see Kanya Danam. Danam is charity. Charity is for an object. Is woman to be treated as an object? No. I would take it the other way. The girl is so very precious that the father gives her away. The boy is not that precious, so the parents are not ready to give him away. There's nobody to buy. So the girl is more precious. See, Danam is not always about buying and taking. Right. It's about an emotion. ஒரு மகள் தன்னை உடையேன் அவளை திருமகள் போல் வளர்த்தேன் செங்கண்மால் தான் கொண்டு போனானோ says ஆழ்வார். So it is about that feeling, the thought. It doesn't mean, oh, the woman is treated low. Now I have to tell this to Alia Bhatt. She did some Tanishq advertisement and she had to say Kanyada nahi karna chahiye and all of that. See, that's the way. So I feel the samskaras are still relevant today. They are absolutely relevant. But it is the way we interpret it. You see it with colored glasses, then everything will seem wrong. See, simple things like a girl asked me, why should I tell the world that I'm married by sporting the Tirumangalyam? My husband is not going to sport one. I said, your husband can also do it if your mother is ready to buy him one. So, see, I would happily sport. See, Tirumangalyam is a beautiful chain of 8 sovereigns with a current day gold price with Shankham Chakram here. I am ready to do that. See, why do we have to complicate our entire existence, make it sound as if everybody before us were fools and we are the sudden... I feel samskaras are still relevant. It can happen, but we should have, Shakespeare says, lend me your ears. We need ears to listen because people have opinions today. They say, you're a marubadi nee paappa, ipdidan solluve, abdimba. It is not that way. We can interpret it. And people do understand. People who have the reasoning power do listen and they...
So like recently about even Kashi Yatra, both boy and girl, so there was an argument and I said, yeah, let boy and girl go. Let the groom's parents and the bride's parents come and convince the other person. So reinterpretations like that are okay?
See, first of all, Kashi Yatra's purpose was the boy who had to go to Kashi after marriage to study.
Yeah.
He was very young, so he had to go and study. So it was a long distance relationship between the west coast and east coast. This boy will go to north, this girl is there with the mamiyar, and then he comes back later.
So commit and go night.
Yeah, so you just go. Then we had 2 very qualified sons-in-law and daughters-in-law coming today. They don't have to study anymore. So
and the marriages are so late also.
Yeah, and then you pay a non-refundable deposit to the Kalyana Mandapam. So the boy doesn't have the luxury to actually frown and then go away. So you ask the boy who takes 2 steps, please come back. இது ஒரு சும்மா ஒரு எல்லாத்தையுமே இவெல்லாம் சீரியஸா எடுத்துட்டு எங்க அப்பா எதுக்கு போய் அவரை கன்வின்ஸ் பண்ணணும், ஏன் மாமியார் என்ன பண்ண மாட்டாளா, இப்படிலாம் உட்காந்து மல்லுக்கு நின்னா, then you don't have to get married. My basic point is you don't like the rituals. To go get one register marriage, then why bother about all of this? When you want to have a traditional marriage, then don't keep criticizing it. then go to a register manager. It saves a lot of money. Patappa will not be happy with it. But still.
Food can always be given.
Yeah.
So there were a few other questions. Sundar Bharadwaj, so he speaks about recently we see a wave of Hindu mythology-based fiction movies and direct story movies coming up from various stages: Hanuman, Kalki, Kannappa, Karuppu, Adipurush, Ramayana. In your opinion, what do you think about the wave and how important is it for the future generation and how authentic they are these days? I mean, we spoke some of those things, but what do you predict about this?
See, a lot of them, in my humble opinion, they're all like veterans whom you're speaking about who have taken these movies. It's just my opinion as a subject matter expert in terms of scriptures. That's all, SME. That a lot of them, they have their own adaptations to Ramayana and Mahabharata, which is our itihasa. Don't change it. The others have some societal agenda. So they have to show Murugan in a certain way. So Murugan was born in Green Base Road. He studied in Mugaper. So see, you are trying to not bring forth the greatness of Murugan. Your idea is not to showcase the greatness of Murugan. It is something else. Else, why would you want to change something that's there in the Sangam literature? It is not about Sanskritam literature. So, a lot of this Murugan, Kannappa and all of that, it's again taken from a very caste angle perspective. I feel they wear mirrored glasses before taking the movie. The movie could be doing well. I saw the Kannappa, the Telugu one. There was one Kannappa, I don't remember the name. What is it? It's Kannappa, right? It was good. The nature was very good, but I don't know. Somehow I feel they overdo their job.
Okay, so I think Haricharan Anand, I think your question was already answered in terms of pronunciation and getting work from actors. And Achyuta Pranav's question was a particular verse or scene in Kalidasa's work that first inspired you to adapt it into cinema. Was there any particular verse which you suddenly felt?
So I used to collect stamps. So that's philately. So we still had people writing in those days, and there were pens which had ink, and people knew how to write, and we used to get envelopes. So we used to exchange stamps. So we had to dip the postcards in water, and the stamp will come out, and then dry them, and then exchange them. So there was one stamp which had one lady sleeping on the meadows with two women serving her. It was written below, Tapati Tanugatri Madanaha. This is the line from Kalidasa's Shakuntalam. So at a very young age, I didn't know it was Shakuntalam, but I saw one lady. Then I saw Ravi Verma's painting of this. So we have tried immortalizing that in this movie where Payal is sleeping and then she's wearing one onion color vastram, and then there's one small mandapam that we erected. So, those little memories of seeing Kalidasa in the stamp can inspire you. Kalidasa has reached that stamp.
How beautiful to hear that.
Right. True.
So lovely. So I think we've covered most of the question. Ganesh sir's question, Sita, and it's 1 o'clock. So we can informally talk, and there are, your YouTube is on your name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of content with so many other questions which we'll want to ask him, but we stuck more to cinema related stuff which we don't get to hear you speak very often. But I really personally look forward to your voice greater in cinema, because I think we need voices which are like this, which speaks data, which is very interesting. Thanks to everyone who came, and can we all, would you like to say something in closing before we all come together for a group photo?
I have always believed that discussions in family circles, be it in WhatsApp groups, be it in person, have to be a lot elevating. Even coffee table discussions that we have with our children, grandchildren, parents, grandparents should be a lot elevating, because we come from the land where when Adi Shankara had to go meet Kumarela Bhatta in Pataliputra, Kumarela Bhatta was amidst Agni. So he said, I won't survive long. So you go to another student of mine called Mandana Mishra.
So Kalidasa goes into the village searching for Mandana Mishra. He asks two passers-by, women, where is Mandana Mishra's house? These two women say that there is a house in whose front yard there are parrots. The parrots will be discussing which part of the Karma Kanda is beautiful. The house where the parrots speak of Karma Kanda is Mandana Mishra's house. Parrots spoke of Karma Kanda. Imagine what kind of discussions people had. Our family discussions should also be elevating. We should be discussing. You can have opinions. You can say that, it was wronged. Duryodhana was promised Subhadra, but Krishna did this bad thing. I don't agree with Krishna. There's one beautiful series called Dharma Kshetra or Kurukshetra in Netflix, right? In Netflix. So you discuss. Fine, but discuss. So I feel one day when you have your relatives home, your children home, after good, sumptuous, delicious food, while you sit before or after your siesta, put ЩАКУНТАЛАM on in your family and together watch and ask which dialogue you understood and which you didn't. You will learn Sanskritam. Sanskritam is learnt this way. You don't start with A, E, Rama, 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 Ha, Ramam, Rama, Rama. That's a 5-mark question. You learn a language only this way. You start speaking parts of it, broken words. So my appeal through this session, of course, to the August gathering and through the Naveena Sanjaya, because YouTube is the Naveena Sanjaya, right? It takes us, it does the Dura Darshana. So to them is watch G.V. Iyer's Adi Shankara, watch these movies and learn that Sanskritam as a bhasha can be spoken. Only when you listen, you will know. And for that, you have to bring your family together. So appreciation of a language is not that easy. It has to come through a process. And one way is you learn this way. You don't have to literally enroll yourself for a course and then begin. It's not a 2-semester project. You can never learn this language that way. So let our family discussions see better elevating levels, and let our discussions be a lot more focused on literature and history and architecture. I just love, you wouldn't know when you were going to sleep. Like how I'm assuming we wouldn't know that the discussion is actually going to end.
Yeah, but that's a lovely point for us to take, because I've often felt the little Sanskritam I got to know is because of the slokams Tata and Pati or Amma taught me, or you just hear it there and you know those words. Vadyar, when they say something, Swaha was the first word. Oh, the action is saying something, I understand, Gramadri.
Just there, Shylaja ji, as you close. You know what is Swaha?
No, you have to elaborate detail.
Very good.
Into the fire.
Agni's wife.
Yeah.
So Agni's wife is called Swaha. So there, see, it's a good point for the feminists. You don't give it to just Agni. You're telling it to Agni through his wife, because she's powerful. So Swaha, Swadha, Madhur, Meda. So you're appealing to the couple. So that Swaha itself has a message. The woman is so powerful there.
I remember this was the point, because there was this joke. We had a yagnyam at home, and after that, Swaha nona saapadu or saapadu ketaranu joke vanda odane. That was my point to tell them apdi illa ipdi in it.
Right.
So we remember, so a lot of things like that, and I'm sure we're all such attentive audience, many of us. So thank you so much for the honor of listening.
Thank you for the.
And I must tell you that this is one of those times in Cinema Rendezvous in this hall where we have so many extra. I think once before we've done, otherwise we've had this amount of people because you were a guest. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much.
परम भागवत मौनि वरस शिविभाकर सनक सनंदन दीश सुर किं पुरुष कनक कशिपु सुत नारद तुम्बुरु पवन सूनु बालचंद्रधर शुक सरोज भव भूसुर वरुलु परम पावनुलु घनुलु शाश्वतुलु कमल भव सुखमु सदानुभवुलु गयंदरो महानुभावुलु As I'm speaking these divine lines of Sri Tyagaraja Swami, I've received the very divine Onavil of Thiruvananthapuram. This is going to be a grand, a mega Natya production titled Endaro Mahanubhavalu, a festoon of the devout. We have chosen the inspiring events from the lives of 14 Acharyas, Mahans, who have trod Bharata Bhumi. Doddacharya, Adishankaracharya, Vedanta Deshika, Muthuswami Dikshita, Potana, Jayadeva, Andal, Mirabai, Kamban, Tirumalizai Piran, Bhadrachala, Ramadasu, Goswami, Tudasidasa, Purandaradasa and Tukaram. We have strung it together into a beautiful dance production that is primarily Bharatanatyam based with movements of Odissi, Ghumar and Mohiniyattam, which is going to be multilingual as well with lines chosen from Sanskritam, Marathi, Brajbhasha, Rajasthani, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, so many languages put together. I've had the opportunity to work with dancers, Natya gurus of great repertoire in the last 15 years. This is an opportunity for me to have curated the production, to have done the storyboard and narrate the production in English. The choreography is by the very famous, revered Kalaimamani Srimati Anita Guha. The music is by the great-grandson of Subramanya Bharati, a Sangeet Natak Academy awardee, Dr. Rajkumar Bharati. And the soundscape design is by Sri Sai Shravanam, one of the contributing engineers to the award-winning Life of Pi movie. We have all come together to present this grand production Endaro Mahanubhavalu in your city. On the 26th and on the 27th of September at the Prestige Center of Performing Arts in Bengaluru, we are presenting this production. On the 3rd and the 4th of October, we are doing it at the Naradagana Sabha in Chennai. On the 1st of November, we are doing it at the Fine Arts Society Chembur in Mumbai. And on the 29th of November at Kamani Auditorium in Delhi. Tickets are flying off the shelves. Please be present, buy your tickets and be with your family to watch this, I would say, once in a lifetime event. We are extremely thankful to the title sponsor, to the event sponsor, to the associate sponsors and to those hands who have supported us. To the all of you, thank you. To the all of you, Vandanamulu, please be present. Namaskar.